Hi, I'm Mike McGrain, and along with Ben Broxham, we represent the Idaho Dental Hygienists Association with the Idaho State Legislature. I want to go over some items from the 2020 legislative session, some current activity, then look forward to the 2021 legislative session. In 2019, a law passed to create the practice of dental therapy. Based upon that new law, the Board of Dentistry promulgated temporary rules for the practice of dental therapy. Under the Idaho Constitution, all administrative rules must be passed by the legislature. So in January, Susan Miller, the executive director of the board, presented the temporary rules to legislative committees. But because of opposition from the Idaho State Dental Association, those temporary rules failed in committee. Nonetheless, administrative rules are passed in a process that is called an omnibus bill that passes in the last few days of the legislative session. However, in 2019 and again in 2020, the legislature failed to pass an omnibus bill. So Governor Little issued an executive order to extend all temporary rules, including the rules for the dental therapy, into 2021. The significance of this is that for the past 4 years, the Idaho Dental Hygienists Association has been working on an extended access bill. This bill would allow dental hygienists to go into extended access settings without the prior approval of a dentist, to evaluate patients, to provide education, to provide preventive dental treatment, and then refer patients to a dentist for needed dental care. We feel like this is a good law that broadens access to patients, especially those in senior living situations, as well as those who have limited access to preventive dental care, including patients that are on Medicaid. But because of the controversy over the dental therapy rules, we were asked to pull back on our extended access bill this last legislative session. In the meantime, the Board of Dentistry has convened an extended access work group that includes the Hygienists Association along with the Idaho State Dental Association and the board. So we've been meeting over the summer to work through issues related to the legislation, and hopefully we can come up with something that is acceptable to all groups that will pass in the 2021 legislative session. Another item from the 2020 session was the creation of the Division of Professional and Occupational Licensing. Idaho has many boards that function independently. The Board of Dentistry is a good example with Susan Miller as the executive director. The new Division of Professional and Occupational Licensing was created to be an umbrella board over all the boards. We were initially concerned about this possibly diluting the independence and the authority of the boards. However, the Board of Dentistry remains intact, but now Susan Miller will report up through the Division of Professional and Occupational Licensing. This is something that we need to keep an eye on to make sure that the board continues to function in an independent fashion, but possibly has a closer ear to the governor. Another item that we've been working with the governor's office with and with the Department of Health and Welfare is a campaign to distribute vaccinations related to COVID-19. Vaccinations for COVID-19 is going to be a massive effort throughout the state. And so the governor has allocated funds from the CARES Act for the training of all licensed healthcare professionals to administer vaccinations. That would include dental hygienists and dentists who could possibly administer vaccinations in their office or participate with public vaccination clinics. So you'll hear more about this as time comes on if you're interested in participating. In August, Governor Little created a special session of the legislature to deal with elections and liability issues related to COVID-19. Under the surface, there's a great deal of tension between the legislature and the governor over the governor's authority. This goes back to March when Governor Little declared an emergency related to COVID-19 and issued restrictions on all of us related to COVID-19. Those restrictions continue to some extent in phase 4 that we're currently in. The legislature has really pushed back on the governor's authority to declare emergencies as well as to allocate funds and these are federal CARES Act funds to address the emergency. The legislature feels that they were not adequately involved in the process for fund allocation or in declaring the emergency. You're going to see this extend into the 2021 legislative sessions with several bills attempting to pull back or to rein back authority from Governor Little. So the tension that is created, as well as the political positioning that this epidemic or pandemic has created, is going to show up politically in the next legislative session. In addition to that, Senate leadership is changing. Senate Pro Tem Brent Hill has resigned, and so that his position is open in the Senate. And in the House, there's a possibility of a challenge to House leadership. So there's going to be a lot of political play happening between the governor's office, the legislature, and internally within the legislature this next legislative session. Hopefully we can come through with a few good bills that will pass. And then finally, I want to urge everyone to vote. This is an unprecedented election. It's so important for everyone to make sure that your vote counts. Most importantly, there are many ways to vote. There's early voting, there's the absentee ballots, as well as voting at the polling place on November 3rd. The most common reason for ballots to be dismissed or to be rejected is failing to sign your ballot if you're sending in an absentee ballot. So if you're doing the absentee ballot, be sure that you sign your ballot. Be sure that you get it into either a drop box or the mail prior to the election so that it is counted. Ben and I both appreciate the support we get from the organization, and if you have any comments or questions for us or suggestions on what we need to do and what we need to look forward to, please contact Suzanne or Erica and let them know. And again, thank you for your support and thank you for the opportunity to represent you at the legislature.